Welcome to Rauta. Who would have expected that after so many years of absence, Swedish black metal band Armagedda would be back? Well, not for the least, I wasn't expecting the band to be back. Even with the kind of reissues of the past few albums, that is 3 albums in total, because, all those albums came within a very, very short span of time, from 2002 to 2004, and basically after that the band really didn't exist anymore. So one could say the band kind of burned in a bright, hot flame, very short time, and then it was totally a goner. But it seems I, or the rest of the world, were wrong, and I could say happily so, because now Armagedda is back with the 4th full-length album. Let's unbox this one, and I'll try to pronounce this album name the way it probably should sound like. So it says Svindeldjup, ättestup. Well, not so easy for non-Swedish, non-Norwegian, non-Danish people. At least Norwegian and Danish should have a chance with the Swedish title. Those of you who remember Armagedda's past, it was all in English until they, with the 3rd album, changed the language. I don't know why so, but later on they returned with English once again when they released later on an EP. But since then the band was gone and nobody really cared, whatever the language is. Now Armagedda is, however, back with this 4th album, and one could say this is very, very different from the early ones. Long has been gone, the black and white Xerox kind of a Dark Thronian style, if you will, even if the music has a lot of similarities. Then again, I think this album cover and the whole feeling with this Armagedda album kind of fits the music. Let's take a look at the band's Metal Archives site. So, in case you have been missing this band totally, like if you have missed it totally, that is, here it is in a short recap. Founded in 1999 with a different name, and since 2000 the band started to go on with the name Armagedda. And soon after the band was very, very active to release these kind of splits, EP, demo, all that stuff, until the 3 albums came out. And since then it basically just started to vanish, even though there was this I Am EP in 2010. And as you can pretty much see, 16 years since the latest album before this one. Now this band has always been more or less 2 guys, even though there are other members, but basically how I've understood it anyway, I might be wrong, that is quite possible. It's been more or less these 2 guys who have also had their other ventures, namely bands like Saiva, Stilla, Lendom, and Leak and Elder. Some of these are newer ones and kind of carried the torch of what Armagedda kind of lit up earlier on. For the time mentioning here, I think it's worth checking out bands like Elder and these other names, but we're not talking about them, but more about Armagedda style. Obviously you will find the music on Armagedda Bandcamp site, so this is quite vast discography all in all, if you count also these smaller releases. But now it's time to talk about the latest album, which I guess is worth showing here with all the information, which kind of recaps the 70th thing here, and then the album cover. Now this is made of 7 tracks, less than 50 minutes in total. One could say quite something that you would expect from a Swedish black metal release. Not exactly some 30 minutes an album, but then again not full hour anyway, but something in between, and I think that's just nice how it goes for here. And what in essence this means that the band has changed is that Armagedda is still playing this kind of raw black metal, but it's also a little bit less distorted, less raw, less dark, I could say, than the first couple of albums when the band was kind of new and fresh. Now, this kind of a not so fresh, this kind of a rotten older version of Armagedda is at least as interesting as the band was back in the days, because now it has more, I guess, originality, more deeper, older soul than the first albums. Back then it was all about this kind of a Dark Throne craft style, so raw black metal, very hateful in style, lo-fi in a way, and raw sounding in general. Now this new album is less distorted, but it's more akin to what the band members have been doing later on. So not necessarily a bad thing, just different. And some people already explained or said that they were a little bit disappointed how Armagedda turned out in 2020. And I must say I really can't agree with that. I guess because, I mean, there's this word when you have expectation, you know, and then you're disappointed because you have certain set of expectations. And I think that's the reason why some people might have been, you know, kind of disappointed in this one. I'm saying just this is different and still kind of a familiar. So all in all, if you take into account it's been 16 years, it's more than likely that bands change. Or the other option would be just copycatting their own style, which actually only very rarely works. So in my opinion, the band has kind of progressed, but not too much. This is like the missing link with some of the newer bands by these band members and Armagedda. So it's kind of a raw, but not as raw as it was in the beginning. But then again, it's not so much doing the Dark Throne and craft style, but something more organic. And this less distorted guitar sound actually emphasizes that the band has gone further, but still not forgetting its roots. So once again, it's raw and it's very Nordic, but I think it's very much more nature-oriented in a ways, rather than this rather typical black metal rawness, what it was back in the times with the Final War approaching. So a little bit different, but still quite the same. And I think this is some natural course the band has taken, and I think it has taken for the good. So in my opinion, this is a good album, not maybe the best top 3 album of the year, but then again, the competition is always quite hard and tight. So obviously it's just a matter of taste rather than me saying how it should be. My point here is this is a good album and it should be listened to with kind of an open mind. Just don't compare it too much to the early Armagedda works, but imagine it like a next step beyond, and it should be quite okay in that respect. In my opinion, a good album, no words needed to go beyond that. Check it out from the Bandcamp site or YouTube or whatever, and in my opinion, physical format always kicks ass out of those digital formats. So with that information, do your listening, do your buying, and of course, enjoy some pure Swedish black metal.